Hey Hereteks, it's your boy, the Warforge, coming at you the freshest of chaotic takes. Speaking of chaos, this video will be my thoughts on the new box set coming out. The Eldricth Omens box set, but also what's coming for Chaos Marines. Because I have a few conflicting thoughts on the matter. So a while ago, we got a leak from an anonymous source about Chaos Marines coming through in 2022. This is from the same source who correctly predicted the Black Templars release and the Orcs too. A while ago, this source released a leak for Chaos Space Marines and Eldar. Now Eldar have been covered by a ton of people, and I really want to talk about Chaos Space Marines. So, within this leak that you see here, we have a list of what is to pass. Now that we've been shown a reveal of the Eldricth Omens box set, it certainly seems to be that this source's rumours are going to pass too. From the box set, they've been bang on hitting the nail on the head with all the units on the Eldar and Chaos side. So at this point, with their reliable leakings from the previously mentioned, we may as well take their source's gospel, and well, this leaves me conflicted. Now these models look fantastic. The chosen are near enough what I expected, some look a little wide, and I'm not too fond of the Eye of Horus on everything. As a Night Lords player, it takes effort to remove said icons, and I feel that many non-Black Legion players will agree with me that the eye makes them look more a Black Legion model than a Chaos Space Marine model. It would be like if your generic Primaris units had Ultramarine symbols embossed and engraved everywhere. And that is where the issue comes from many of us. Outside of that, the models are great. I agree that, with most, that the pose of the Warpsmith should have been different to the Primaris variant. But I really do like the use of the mecha tendrils and the use of the cog on the shoulder pads and the leg pauldron. I like the fact that it represents part of their speciality within the faction, but also a little taste of a reference back to the old days of the heresy and who they could have been if they were loyal. So why am I feeling so conflicted on a few rumours? Well, first off, as a full disclaimer, I have no issues with the sculpts or the talent that will be put into these sculpts that we may see. I really like how they are addressing older sculpts to be updated and modernised for the current edition, like the Bikes and Possessed. What I feel conflicted over are the more mortal aspects of these rumours. I feel conflicted because to me it's a short-term nostalgia hit for those who have fond memories within the Eye of Terror and those who had fun with Chaos Space Marines in their 3.5 codex. This was a codex, as another disclaimer, that I've never played with. I never played in 3rd edition. I started at the back end of 4th edition in 2007. And my first full edition was 5th edition, so I don't have no memory of these alleged glory days back in the day. For years, people have been begging for a Lost in the Damned army and or a Traitor Guard army, and when we eventually see these new mortal sculpts, you can bet there will be an uproar of hype. Finally, people who played that codex or the army list from Vrax can finally play their armies again in a non-Legends format, right? So, you know, they can play their stuff in standard games too, and pick up games as well as tournaments, right? Well, that's where I come to my personal conflict. These mortal mutants will look great, as Games Workshop provides great sculpts and indeed some that are best in the market. But I think the rules will inflict a backlash upon the community and will spin the Chaos Space Marine community once again in a negative light, and it's all down to these rules. As you see here in the Death Guard and Thousand Suns books, we have mortal restrictions, and this was due to how these armies were abused competitively in the competitive environment in their previous codex iteration in 8th edition. Now you must play Thousand Suns and Death Guard power armour in their respective armies. As you should. As you definitely should. In the Chaos Space Marine Codex, with this plethora of new units for Chaos Space Marines, people will think that they can play near enough a copy of their old Lost in the Damned, their Vrax or the Traitor Guard armies. Iron Warrior players may think we will have our basilisks again and we will be back to the golden age of 3.5 again. Then we see a rule like this and players suddenly realise they have to shoehorn Chaos Space Marines into their Traitor Guard army. I know, ironic, right? There will be a vocal backlash of this move and the Chaos Space Marine community will once again earn the top spot of whiners and complainers that other vocal minorities within the social media side of the hobby will overgeneralise with boilerplate statements, meaning that the community will once again never be heard. I mean, like it was heard in the first place, but I guess that's why we're having a horde of mutants in the foot as well. Games Workshop doesn't really like to communicate, just take things on the chin and basically stealthily give us what we want, allegedly. This saddens me, but I honestly expect this prediction to happen. I expect the restriction to be in place to future-proof exploits in the book to avoid the earned reputation of Death Guard and Thousand Suns had in 8th edition. As another disclaimer, I have no real issues with more mortals swelling up the Chaos Space Marine ranks. Word Bearers, Red Corsair and Black Legion players will most likely rejoice in the matter. My issue is that the inclusion, and most importantly, very important people understand this and hear this, the most important part about this is how they will hype the units in the Warhammer community articles to come. Those articles will be disingenuous when it's revealed as YouTubers get a book, or well, get the book to review. And once they get the book to review, they'll reveal that there's a mortal restriction, which I can guarantee Games Workshop are just going to shove under the carpet. They're not going to tell you that in the Warhammer community articles. They're going to hype you on all these mortal stuff that you can use. I myself want to see Traitor Guard, and I want to see Mutants and Renegades, but I want to see them in their own codex with some rules similar to Brood Brothers, to include Chaos Space Marines and or Chaos Knights. Maybe some even more special and niche rules for Word Bearers players so that they can really get the theme of their army up and going. I want Traitor Guard to have their own codex so that they have a space to breathe for their own playstyle and tactics to expand on the board, so that Traitor Guard players can feel like they're playing Traitor Guard with mutant Ogryns and corrupted machine spirits of Leman Russes, some unholy rituals from the Psykers, etc. Things to make them just as viable but a separate entity from the Imperial Guard. Because I'm not saying Astra Militarum, you're in the Guard Zone, you're going to conscripted, you're going to die on the battlefield because you're cannon fodder. Deal with it. What I would have liked to have seen is something similar to the Mark II Loyalist Codex released back in 8th edition, when they released a codex and the first founding chapters and supplements. I would have liked to have seen them address all the non-cult legions with a supplement, a character and an upgrade sprue, that would have been enough for me. I wouldn't have really needed much else, if anything. I would have liked them to address all the old scopes like the mutilators and the kits inside the starter set to get their own box set with different poses and such. Venom Crawlers getting their own box with a few ranged upgrades, mutilators and obliterators getting a dual kit, Greater Possess getting some new sculpts, and such and so forth. I play Chaos Space Marines to play Chaos Space Marines. I play Night Lords and Iron Warriors to play those legions. All I need is a new box set of cultists for the meat grinder. I don't need unit upon unit of different mortals when I just want to play a Raptor Force or a Chaos Tank Heavy Force filled with Demon Engines for my Iron Warriors, Raptors for my Night Lords, at most for the demony stuff there's a few Warp Talons. My Red Corsairs may like this advancement, but that's it. All in all, I don't want to be skeptical like I am of this Chaos Space release. I have told many people online and many friends since the start of 9th that I do not mind waiting for a decent release with rules that make us feel viable in the current environment of 9th edition. I was excited, really excited to see that we won't suffer an early Codex syndrome like we had in 6th and 7th edition. But now I feel hesitant because I feel we will be pushed unnaturally towards certain combinations and synergies with these new units that we may not wish to include in our forces as it has been so in the past. Now, for those who wish to be condescending and tell us that we don't have to buy the product. Yes, objectively you are correct, but subjectively it is also a very unfun and negative experience to build a premium investment in time. I'm not going to go into financial investment, I'm not going to fall for that pit trap, but time investment is just as important as financial investment when it comes to this hobby. This must be reiterated and stressed. It is a very negative experience to build a premium investment in time, getting these units on the table, built, painted, learning the lore, learning the the rules, I guess. Well, yeah, of course. Painting these, maybe listening to an audiobook in the background, building your own hype to get these units painted, built, on the table to enjoy them. And again, it's a very negative experience when you build that premium investment in time, getting these units on the table, only to be told objectively with the stats and synergies and combinations of the opposing force to prove we made the quote-unquote wrong choice in list creation. No one likes the rule of fool, and someone who coined the term was the honest wargamer. It's a term I really like. And no one likes the rule of fool because no one likes to be made to feel a fool for picking units they wanted, unknowing that they were an incorrect choice because they were an incorrect combination or an incorrect synergy, or there was too much investment in command points for this one unit, etc, etc. On that note, what are your thoughts? I'd like to know in the comments section down below. You can check out my socials on my hobby progress in the link tree provided in the description below too. This is the Warpforge signing out, and remember, keep on forging. Warm milk smells like spinal fluid. Bottom text.